Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Wayne Lou. This is 10 plays where we review 10 key plays that contributed to the Raptors win last night. And the Raptors did beat the Milwaukee Bucks in the rematch at Scotiabank Arena a week later after giving up 130. Raptors locked down defensively and beat the Bucks 128 to 100. Focus of today, I really wanted to focus on Scottie Barnes, who did, of course, get Darko's Raptor chain for his efforts in this game. And putting aside even the stats, which were really good, I mean, he basically matched Giannis in terms of the stats. I wanted to show you the 10 plays that Scottie Barnes made that contributed to this win. And quite frankly, I probably could have shown you 20 plays based on how he played last night. But let's just start on the defensive end. Of course, if you're going to play and beat the Milwaukee Bucks, everything comes down to how you guard Giannis. And Scottie Barnes got the primary assignment against Giannis all night. And, Darko actually did a smart thing where he actually matched most of Scottie's minutes basically with Giannis and changed up his rotation pattern to make sure that he was matched up against the two-time MVP. So this is like really early in the game. You can definitely see the intent of sort of how the Raptors wanted to play Giannis the whole night, especially with Scottie. The thing is, Scottie does this a lot when he has to guard like the bigger matchups. He does the same thing when he guards Jokic, for example, where he likes to front the post. And the Raptors like to sort of make it difficult for the best players to get the ball. Quite frankly, once they get the ball, it's pretty difficult. You're already kind of in hot water, even with Scottie being great defensively. But a lot of the work comes from just not even allowing them to get the ball in the first place. In this situation, as they run down in transition, Giannis has a step on Scottie, and so he's already looking for the pass over the top eventually from his players. Scottie, of course, battles Giannis, gets in position, and Scottie does always this deceptive thing where he keeps his hands down just a little bit, and then last second kind of extends to sort of, I guess, reveal the true extent of sort of how long his arms are. But in this case, not necessarily a great pass from Miles Turner anyway, but as you can see, Scottie picks off the pass over the top to Giannis, and then that, of course, puts the Raptors out in the fast break. Scottie has been excellent this season, especially at running the fast break. That was one of the big emphasis of the season for the Raptors, was how much they wanted to play fast on the break. And it's one thing to say that, every team will tell you that literally, but it's another thing to actually go out and do it. And you'll see many examples that I'm going to show you where Scottie's actually the one breaking ahead of everybody. In this case, he beats everyone down the floor and feeds RJ Barrett for three. Here's another example of what the Raptors were trying to do defensively against Giannis. Again, they're fronting. Again, Scottie keeps his hands down to sort of reveal his defensive capabilities at the last second, and he gets the steal here on Giannis. The play cuts off because the Raptors actually don't really score on this ensuing possession, I believe. But in any case, you can definitely see like this is like similar to sort of how the Raptors wanted to play in the first game against Giannis as well. You see like the Bucks are going to run, basically they're going to clear one side of the floor for Giannis. If you actually see here, Giannis is going to sort of, he has Gary Trent with him on one side of the floor. You can literally see Giannis throw his right hand up, throw his thumb to the back, and he's like, yo, just clear out, man. Give me this space. Scottie's looking at this whole situation, so even though he might not necessarily see what Giannis is doing, he understands exactly what's going to happen just based on the clear out here. Of course, he looks behind him, he fronts, he's doing the hard work. This is the tough thing, too, is with the Bucks, they really help try to take away your options because, as you can see, they have Miles Turner parked at the top of the floor. That occupies Sandro Mamukelashvili, the Raptors center in this situation, to keep him away from the paint. Obviously, Giannis has already cleared out, Gary from the side of the floor, so Gary's going to take RJ with him to the opposite corner. Scottie's kind of on an island. This is one of the most dangerous situations in basketball where you have Giannis by yourself with no help coming. Like literally no help is going to come in this situation. If the pass successfully makes it over the top, Giannis is most likely going to get, a dunk, or he's going to get hard fouled for free throws, right? Either situation is bad. But again, Scottie does the right thing here, anticipates. There's actually a bit of a push-off even from Giannis to try to get a little bit of separation. RJ does realize last second, RJ could potentially come here and provide some help. Of course, that allows Giannis to maybe whip it into the corner to Gary. Gary's kind of running nonchalantly, so he's not really ready for the corner three just yet anyway. But in any case, that's all picked off because of the fact that look at Scottie's extension from how low he is in a split second, from being in this position, low, battling Giannis, getting pushed in the back, to the point where when he actually picks off the pass, like it's not even a bad pass from Kyle Kuzma, but this is just like again just physical like prowess, right? To get to this point after being that low, it's just it's a really impressive defensive play. Of course, it's good to see the Raptors all try to be alert and be in help position here. By the time the pass is thrown, you ultimately see 3 Raptors in the paint. Of course, the Raptors would be in rotation if this pass were completed, but in any case, it's not completed because of how good Scottie can be on the defensive end. So that's primarily how they guarded Giannis, but of course they also do the classic Giannis wall, which you see quite a bit across the league. Popularized, I might add, by Nick Nurse and the 2019 Toronto Raptors, where Giannis is going to drive from the top and he's just going to see boxes and elbows, whether it's going to be Brandon Ingram or in this case, Sandro Mamukelashvili. He's not going to be able to see just, one-on-one coverage when he's driving from the top because, again, this guy is a physical freak. So, first off, Scottie has the strength to sort of curve off Giannis's drive, right? So it's not going to be just a straight blow by. It's not Giannis attacks Scottie's hip and gets to the middle. The fact that Scottie's able to actually hold up Giannis in the initial drive is pretty impressive because you notice Scottie's actually ball pressuring. He's right there. He's not giving Giannis space. A lot of players give Giannis that space, and that gives them that runway where it's so much harder for them to actually step in front. Scottie's actually going to be pressuring the ball, into the ball, curves Giannis's drive because you could see originally Giannis is probably going to try to attack, probably the right lane here, right along the edge of the paint. But you see Scottie makes him go wider. So by the time he has to then Euro step to just sort of rip through. At that point, that's where once he hits that Euro step and he's actually curving in, that's where the help's going to come. And of course, great help here by Sandro Mamukelashvili to come in from the blind side and just wall up, tall up, make it difficult for Giannis to do whatever he wants, whether that's pass out to the top for the 3, whether that's, take a shot. Obviously, from there, it's going to be difficult. Giannis ultimately kind of double pumps midair, and ultimately, he gets called for the offensive foul here. This is a play here where the Bucks actually went to review. Doc Rivers went to back up his star player and went to the review. And upon the review, you can actually see that Giannis is actually grabbing Scottie's shorts kind of the entire play, and that's what caused the offensive foul to be called, which is a really great call by the referee because usually they call a lot of this in favor of Giannis. But in any case, just great individual defense strength. This we're talking about he's doing this the entire game, Scottie, in terms of matching that physicality from Giannis, forcing him to go a little bit wider, and that allows the help to come over. And great help by Sandro as well. Of course, as Darko said post game, guarding Giannis is a 5-man job. So that was another great play. Again, a lot of this is going to focus on the defensive end because I think Scottie is just truly one of these game-changing defensive players. We're talking about a guy who's doing a great job guarding Giannis. Speaking of which, let's look one more play on the defensive end versus the 2-time MVP. Yep, there we go. So another important play in this section. So one of the things the Raptors did really well in this blowout win is how they closed out quarters. I thought that at the end of the first quarter did a great job, and then in the second quarter did a great job, and the same thing at the end of the third quarter. So you can see here, Giannis is actually off the ball, but he's always going to be an option. He's going to fake like he's going to come, receive the ball at the top, but instead he's actually going to cut backdoor. Scottie now gets backdoored a little bit, but again, he fights to sort of get back into the play. Great help by Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram's defense has not necessarily been that strong to start the season, but I think as the Raptors have sort of continued to play, obviously they're in Game 8 now, Game 9 going forward. I think Ingram's increased his presence defensively, and I thought this was actually one of his best defensive games for the Raptors in the 8 games he's played for the team. You can see here that as Giannis makes that feint to come to the top, Scottie was kind of denying him. Then he cuts back door. This is just a really good play by Giannis. Now, of course, the spacing's not ideal for the Bucks because, Turner shouldn't really be this deep. Usually Turner's a guy who should be popping out. But you see as, Brandon's watching this whole entire situation. So as soon as Giannis gets the ball in his hands, Ingram's fully committed. He's fully, down there ready to meet him. Now, the difference with Ingram and Scottie, obviously, there's a lot of differences defensively, but Ingram's just not as strong as Scottie, right? So he's not going to absorb as much of the contact. However, he's got the length similar to Scottie as well. So when Giannis is shooting, and by the way, credit to Scottie for cutting back into this play too, but when he's shooting, he is looking at a guy in Ingram who has a 7-foot plus wingspan. And so when he goes up for the shot, he gets stripped initially. Now Giannis he's going to recover the ball. He's going to be strong. He's going to bully. Again, a second wave of help from Ingram. At this point, Mamu's also come down too to take Miles Turner because obviously Ingram's gone to help Scottie on the ball. And so first off, look at Giannis, man. This guy's got 2 gigantic wings bullying him under the basket as well. And of course, Giannis can usually score in this situation, but of course, really good hand. It's either the left hand there by Scottie. As soon as Giannis tried to go up and he's revealed the ball, That's where Scottie was able to get a strong hand in there, get the strip, get the foul call, get the turnover. And Giannis, maybe out of frustration, maybe out of tiredness, whatever, ends up taking the take foul in this situation, because once Brandon has it, he tries to bring the ball up and Giannis fully grabs him, which, it is a take foul. The Raptors got the free throw and the possession. But again, really, really good defense from both Scottie and Brandon Ingram in this situation. Let me show you some more defense, but this time it's not on Giannis. This, I just think, is a freaking beautiful play from Scottie. This should have sparked a fast break, but the referee blew it dead because of the shot clock violation. But you can see here, the play is on the left wing. Great job by Mamu, actually, to contain Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony hurt the Raptors a lot in the first game. But Scottie's in help position, as he always is. On the initial drive, he understands that Mamu can sometimes need some help, especially switched out against guards. I think Jamal Shedd's doing a great job here too, also being in the gap, perfectly ready to play help against Cole Anthony while also being able to recover back to Kyle Kuzma in the 3. So Cole doesn't see a lot of great options here because there's help literally coming from both sides. So he decides to swing it back out to the opposite end to Taurean Prince. At this point, it looks like Scottie's beat when the pass is made because his back is to the play. But look at the technique here by Scottie Barnes to jump, but like a half jump, then flip his body 360 and then come back in for the block. Like, that is just a really, really special bit of athleticism. Again, the use of the length, but it's also the basketball IQ, right? He's providing help. You see there, right there, the reason Scottie understands what's happening here is that little quick turn of the head right there at 4 seconds. He flips his head just a tiny bit to see where his man is. So when he's providing help, he understands the gap that he has to make up. And then when he comes out, doesn't fall for the first pump fake too much because, again, that's a small closeout. It's not one of those wild closeouts that takes him out of the play. And then he comes back into play, second effort, and that honestly should have been a transition dunk going the other way. The referee called it dead. But just one of the great plays from Scottie Barnes. Scottie had 6 stocks for the second straight game. He had 5 blocks and a steal in the win against Memphis. And this game, he had 4 steals and 2 blocks. Back-to-back games of 6 stocks. That's some Wemby shit, man. Yeah. This is just beautiful. And what, they got on the fast break as well? Yeah. Okay, Quick. I don't mind that shot by Quick. It's quick, but at the same time, he's open. The Raptors want him to be aggressive. That's a perfectly fine shot. He can make that shot. But on the defensive end, let's look at this again. So, Scottie's initially guarding the pick and roll here, right? Where he's initially on Bobby Portis. There's a moving screen, quite frankly, by Bobby Portis on the ball. And so Grady Dick gets crunched up on that screen. And so Scottie switches initially. The pass instead goes out to the wing to Kyle Kuzma, which is a great pass. That's all good. Kuzma pump fake, tries to drive. Mamu does a great job of sliding in and taking on the roller in this situation in Bobby Portis. So again, a really big bit of defense by Mamu, because if Mamu just stayed on the corner shooter, then there's an easy pass to the middle to Bobby Portis for the roll. But instead here, Mamu switches on to Bobby. And again, Scottie realizes this. So Scottie's already switched on the initial action, comes in, notices there's another switch. That means that Scottie needs to go help the helper. In this situation, he needs to go to Mamu's man. And you just notice, like, the way he's recovering, legit, just like, he anticipates the entire action, right? Because yes, he gets help from Mamu initially after he helps Grady. But then that rotation to understand exactly where he needed to go, not rush too much either, because it's almost like he's baiting. Because I think Scottie probably could have got to that corner even earlier than he did. But once Kuzma throws the pass, Scottie's perfectly then in position to pick it off. And then it's a steal, and then they go the other way. And of course, the Raptors, that first pass out, that's something that Darko's talked about a lot too, in terms of they want to get the head-to-head pass. So yes, that steal is great, but as soon as he hits it, he's not looking to drive, he's not looking to attack himself. He's looking to get the Raptors on the fast break, because once that pass is made right there, it's a 3-on-2 fast break. The Bucks, there's Jacoby Walter, Emmanuel Quickley, Grady Dick for the Raptors, and then there's just 2 Bucks trying to get back. Now, granted, ultimately, the fast break develops. IQ probably could have kept filling the lane here and then make the extra pass to Grady instead of sort of flaring out to the 3-point line. If IQ kept running the middle here, that's probably going to occupy the help, and then he's probably going to be able to find Grady either cutting back door or cutting the corner. But it's also not a bad read in this situation, because he gets himself a wide open three. He just misses it. I obviously IQ's in a bit of a funk shooting the ball right now, but the Raptors still get the possession back because Grady Dick does a great job fighting for the offensive rebound and gets fouled on the loose ball. Okay, enough defense. Let's show you some offense. Yep. So last couple games, we've seen Scottie play both as a wing and also as a big. That's pretty normal, actually. We're probably going to see that a lot this season. But especially with Jakob out, and in this game, Jakob didn't play that many. He's played like 20 minutes. So there were still a lot of small ball moments for Scottie to be in. And one of the things that's really fun about Scottie is that you can put him in these pick and roll situations, or you can put him in these dribble handoff situations. And as long as the floor is spaced, and by the way, you look at this lineup right here, it's quickly at the point, Scottie as the 4, Mamu as the 5, Brandon as the 3, and RJ as the 2. Like, this is a lineup they actually played a ton. Again, in Jakob's absence. But in this situation, Scottie's kind of like your go-to pick and roll guy, right? So in this case, he's going to have the ball at the elbow, and then he's going to pitch it back out for a little dribble handoff situation. He's going to then slip out after he makes the pass. He does a great job. If you notice, the Raptors do this well, kind of collectively as a team, which I think makes it probably a coaching point. But on their screens, they do a really subtle thing where, if you notice, like Scottie's hands, he kind of like puts his hands on the waist, on the hip of Kyle Kuzma. So usually when you flip screens, you want to sort of wrong foot the defense, both on the ball, especially on your help defense as well. So Scottie's initial play, he was never going to actually set this screen like for real for IQ. But what he does is, once he slips out, he also puts his hands on the waist. So then he kind of like, it's kind of a push, but it's also just really subtle. But he just guides the defense into the wrong position. Okay. And then so once he slips out, Giannis is also in that position where he thinks that, the screen is actually coming for IQ. So he's again ready there to be able to help, because if Scottie had set a firm screen in this situation for Kuzma, then quickly obviously has that threat to pull up from 3. So Giannis is coming to respect that. He's actually stepping out to the 3-point line. Scottie again slips out of that screen, kind of like disrupts Kuzma and pushes him out the way. You can see how Kuzma is like having to recover his balance. Once the ball comes back to the middle, though, that's when Scottie's going to draw the help, because again, he's been a good mid-range shooter the last 2 years. So you'll see Miles Turner coming in to rotate, and of course that's where Scottie then finds Mamu sneaking back door for the layup. It's just a lot of smart plays like this. I really don't mind when the Raptors play without a true center on the floor, when they can play 5 out, when they can space it out. I mean, in this situation, you probably could have done the same play with Jakob instead of Mamu, because it's just ending up with the center shooting a layup. But there are a lot of these sequences where, when Scottie's able to sort of be that like screener for a guy, he makes a lot of clever decisions. And this was just a really clever decision. Again, that little subtle push. I've seen them actually train CMB in that exact move pre-game. So hopefully I'm right in this situation, and this is exactly actually a coaching win by the team. Okay, I got 3 more plays to show you. This one right here is another play that probably could have been credited as a block. I don't think it was. But this is just another great two-way sequence. Again, this is how the Raptors build leads, right? This is what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to, be really committed on the defensive end. And, of course, you see here, the Bucks are in transition. They do the hit-ahead pass to Kyle Kuzma. Kuzma has like a relatively open paint, and he has a small guy in front of him in quickly. But shouts to quickly for like battling to stay in front, forcing a quicker pickup from Kuzma than maybe Kuzma wanted. Although Kuzma shoots anything, so like maybe this is the shot Kuzma wanted. But great help by Scottie to see the situation play out, provide help to his teammate. Obviously, Kuzma is bigger than IQ, so that little shoulder bump check, that does create the separation. But Scottie's right there with the help to make that shot way, way harder than it looks. I mean, like, look at that. They're both basically going for a jump ball in this situation as Kuzma releases it. Obviously, the shot's not going to go in. Scottie then one-hands the rebound, tips it to himself. Look at this. See, this is the thing what I mean is, like, everyone says they want to play fast, but do they have the endurance and do they mean it? So they're in transition. Scottie helps. He gets the rebound. He gets the stop. He gets the rebound. He pushes. At the time of the rebound, right? When Scottie gets it, every Milwaukee Buck is either in plane with him or they're ahead of him. They're still like on defensive end. The Raptors, only one guy ahead of him is Grady Dick in this situation. Once Scottie Barnes rips down the rebound. But look at when Scottie pushes the ball. He already beats 2 Bucks with just the push in transition. kicks out to Grady, or dumps it behind to IQ. IQ with a really nice first time pass into the corner. Grady runs in directly into the corner. That's exactly what he's supposed to do in a fast break as a shooter. And then he gets the open three. Again, all that is just comes from playing really hard on both ends, man. And again, Scottie was just awesome on this sequence. Last two plays here. I think it's important to note a couple of these because Scottie has been shooting the three really well. He's basically at 50% for the season. These are the type of shots for Scottie where you just want to see him take these, regardless of sort of whether he's on or off, because this is just a sequence that doesn't even revolve Scottie initially. This is kind of like a pick and roll here where Jamal's going to get it from Mamu. Mamu's going to roll off of that, and that's going to create a bit of a gap as Mamu rolls. Jamal's very quick, and he sees the position, and Cole Anthony is kind of on his heels on this play, so he reads that and he immediately attacks that gap. Now, of course, this isn't really a great gap to be in necessarily, just because where is Jamal ultimately going to go here? But once he does that, there's help from the wing, from Andre Jackson, who tries to dig in. Jamal secures the ball, doesn't allow for the steal, kicks it out to Brandon. Of course, Brandon having the ball is definitely going to be a threat three-point wise, so there needs to be help. And then he just bounces to the Scottie in the corner. The thing is, when you look at the Scottie's three-point shots, they're not like impressive. They're not like, again, like him hitting 3 or 4 crossovers and then pulling up for 3. The most important part is that he's been shooting these like very steady, feet planted, open, in rhythm threes. And that's part of the reason why he's been more efficient, is the type of threes he's taking right now are way, I guess, just better quality of shots than the ones that he was taking last season, which led to the poor three-point shooting. And then last play, I mean, it involves Scottie, so it kind of like fits the theme, but ultimately this was just one of the prettiest plays that we've seen from the Raptors all season. So we'll just let it run because this is just beautiful, beautiful basketball. It's actually so beautiful the NBA account posted this, not even the Raptors themselves. Yeah, so this was at end of the third quarter. Raptors were already up by a significant margin at this point. Again, you see there's 13 seconds left on the shot clock, and even though this is like the cropped view, you could still sort of see a lot of what's happening here. Jamal's going to swing it onto the wing to Grady Dick. Grady does a really nice subtle move as he catches the ball, right? When he catches it, he's going to fake the ball fake one way, like he's going to go baseline, but then he's going to actually go middle instead. That is the move that puts Cole Anthony in this position where Cole is like, his entire momentum is shifted to the corner, and that allows Grady to attack and get to the middle. That's where the first attack happens. He kicks out to Mamu. Now, Mamu, could he take this shot? Probably. But this is going to get even better because once that closeout comes in, he kicks it to Brandon. Could Brandon take that shot? Probably. But this is a really good rotation by Cole Anthony, who rotated all the way out to the opposite corner, and this is actually just great rotation by the Bucks. However, play does not stop there. Brandon takes one dribble, realizes he doesn't need to force it, kicks it out to Grady. Grady relocated. So once he ripped through, he actually came to the wing to fill in where Mamu was. Now Mamu's going to go to the top of the floor. Grady is going to see it again. Same move. Put it right on the deck. This time he does go baseline. He attacks the closeout by Bobby Portis. For the second time in the play, Grady Dick has touched the paint. That causes the rotation over from Giannis. Now Scottie's open in the corner. Grady with a great pass into the corner to Giannis. Another great rotation there. This is Ryan Rollins coming in to run Scottie off the three-point line. Scottie goes to the top to Jamal Shed. And now Mamu has an even more open three, and he knocks it down. This play is so impressive to me because every single player touched the ball. They changed positions. This is the top of the floor view. I like this view too because you could just see the rotation, the movement, keeping the Bucks running and chasing ghosts. This is probably the best half-court possession the Raptors had all season. And if this is what we can see from the team and this is what we can expect from the team, we'll be really excited. So there you go. 10 plays from last night's win. Credit to Scottie Barnes for making the vast majority of them. But there were so many good games that happened, in this one. So appreciate you guys. We're actually going to be back in about half an hour. We're going to talk with Alex Wong and Jerome Chang. We're going to get through some of the true and false statements of this season. So tap back in half an hour. To be honest, I kind of jumped the cube. I just wanted to show you 10 plays. But I appreciate you guys. Let us know if you enjoyed these plays. Let us know if you enjoyed this format and like the stream too as well. Thank you.